Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of World of Warships, the Asia Server Diaries. In today's episode, I'm gonna give you a quick look at the Tier 7 American Premium Cruiser, the Atlanta. Just to give you a brief rundown on some of its stats, it's got 27,500 HP. It's not the greatest compared to the other cruisers at Tier 7. The Pensacola comes stock with 31.9 thousand, and it can be upgraded to just under 35,000. The Myoko has 37,400 HP and can go up to 39,000. So not a lot of health there. In terms of speed and maneuverability, it is quite fast, as you can see. It's picked up to 32. It's got top speed of 32.8 knots, and the rudder shift time of 11 seconds means you can turn quite well, run really fast as well. Now, next up is the guns, which is basically the highlight of this ship. It can do 12 rounds per minute, so that's basically a one shot every 5 seconds, and it has a 7.2 second 180 degree rotation speed. But the only downside to the guns is its short range of 11.1 kilometers. It's not very far at all. Tier 5 ships can easily outrange you. Heck, even some of the Tier 4 ships can outrange you. But let's talk a little bit about the guns. So it's got 8 dual firing guns, and they're also dual purpose guns. But the caliber of the guns is only 127 millimeters, so your AP rounds are probably going to have some trouble penetrating the other Tier 7 cruisers. But it does make short work of any destroyers you come across. So my recommendation is just spam the HE, and you will quickly take out a lot of your opponents. The AA on this ship is quite good. It's pretty excellent, in fact. And because you got dual purpose guns, you can also equip the defensive fire ability. As you can see, I've left mine because I forgot to change it when I got the ship on the hydroacoustics, which is what I believe to be the most useless skill so far. But that's another story. Talk a little bit more about this ship. It also has torpedoes, surprisingly, for a Tier 7 American cruiser. It's got 2 quad launchers, so one on each side. They don't have a lot of range. They can go up to about 4.5 kilometers from memory. And as you can see, I've launched my set of torpedoes at this incoming Myoko, which could make short work of me, but he can't quite maneuver out of the way of my torpedoes. And there he goes. And if you had noticed, the guns that I was using and firing were pretty much non-stop. I mean, they reload so fast that at max range, you can basically fire your second round before your first round even hits or lands anywhere near the surface or your target. But let's now focus on the game. As we can see, a lot of my teammates have, I don't know what they're doing, they're just idling about in between A and C point and the B and C point. 2 of our ships have gone for the cap points, so one's at B and one is at C, and I'm here pretty much on my own. But I'm not deterred by this. I will bravely try and capture this point and hopefully try to use the islands to get some cover, because yeah, my short range is a bit of a problem, but not as long as they're within my range, it's okay. And making use of islands to try and prevent the enemy from shooting back at me is also another key thing that you have to try and do with the Atlanta. Now, if you were to be on the ocean map, on the other hand, you might want to stay a lot closer to your allies, or stay behind them slightly, and wait until the enemy's focused on your allies, then try and move in to start opening up your cannons like this. I'm not doing so well with my aiming. As you can see, it's not quite there because he's using the blue line to turn around, so it just makes it a bit harder to try to calculate his position. I tried to do some shots over the island, but he then moves out of range for me to detect him. Now, I was just checking my torpedoes because I noticed that there was a cruiser trying to make his way around this island, and this big island in the A point. And that Miyoko had fired off his torpedoes, but fortunately I have moved out of the way of those, but also I've hit land, so that wasn't particularly good. I do my best to try and avoid obstacles. And there we go, we can see that Omaha's trying to make his way in to try and contest the point. So I noticed this very quickly, and I'm trying to just line up my torpedoes to fire around that corner there, so that as soon as he comes in, he will get hit by all of those. Now, even though my the marker was showing a little bit more left, I was anticipating that he will try and turn into me. And he does. And he's just going straight for the torpedoes. And boom, he's gone. And I quickly make my escape as a couple of battleships slowly start to make their way towards the A point. I'm pretty much getting out of there. I don't want any of that. I'd really much rather they be shooting at something else instead of me. Now, even though my destroyer ally is up there, I really don't fancy trying to take them on, as our destroyer may be able to drop off from the detectable range. But I sort of have a brief moment of indecisiveness. I'm trying to decide, should I really back him up? Maybe? No. No. No, I'm just not going to bother. It's a bit too risky. I'd rather stay alive. But here's what I mean when I said you can continuously fire. See, my first round hasn't even hit, and my second round's already out. And this is the beauty of the Atlanta. To just be able to have that constant rain of HE shells falling. I know, when I've been in my battleship going up against an Atlanta, it is quite frustrating to have that much HE fired on you, and you go and repair the fire only to just get set on fire straight after. So now I'm checking the map, and this Omaha, he seems to want to be brave enough to protect the A point. I guess I'll just follow him and see what happens. Slowly coming around the corner. That Myogi is within my range. I'll let loose on him. Once again. Hasn't even touched the ground. Second round is out. And just as they hit, my third run comes out. Not really doing too well with my accuracy today. And he's down. Torpedoes made short work of him. So, looks like the majority of the enemy forces have decided to come to A, and they are doing what I have seen most people do, which is they roll on over to this side, but they don't even try to contest the A point. They stay well behind these islands for some reason. Now, to me, it seems kind of a silly thing to do, as the ships that come in from the south, they can get in close and pretty much stay behind those islands and are able to fire their shots over the islands and get those plunging fires going down onto them. I mean, they could possibly also do the same, but it's a bit harder when the ships from the south can hug the islands. And yes, as you can see, they are backing off slowly. They're not even trying to roll on in. And finally, one of our battleships has made his way into somewhat of an effective range, I guess. Now the ships on the south, what they also tend to like to do is to hug the borderline as well. It kind of works, kind of doesn't. It abuses the whole mechanics of it, where you can pretty much hit full speed on a sideways. So it makes it really hard to hit them. Now, there's been mention of trying to fix this on the forums, but I don't know how they would try and fix it. It doesn't look like a fix will come out anytime soon. But getting on back into the match, I am making my way slowly towards the B point, and whilst doing so, I figure why not? I'll just try and provide some supporting fire for that destroyer, who looks like he just wants to take them out with his torpedoes. So what has it been? It's been just over 12 minutes, and you can rack up the amount of shots. You can see I've already hit about 97 plus 23 more. You can very easily rack up 200 shots in a game. I don't think I've been anywhere near the 200 mark. I think the highest I got was about 180. But that's probably because of my inability to shoot accurately. But in saying that, I haven't done too bad in this game. I mean, 5 torpedo hits, quite a few fires, quite a few modules that have been taken out. The only thing that I couldn't quite showcase is the anti-air capability. None of the enemy aircraft have tried to come anywhere near me. Only that brief little moment at the start, but typical aircraft carrier players, they just ignore everything that's coming at them and they try to go for bigger targets like the battleships or even the aircraft carriers. But back to the game, I spy myself the aircraft carrier, cruiser, and a destroyer. The aircraft carrier is just too far away for me to even try and get a brief glimpse of him. I did spot this Pensacola, and it looks like he's grounded himself. So, might as well take some shots at him. Fairly confident that from the range I am, my shots should be able to loop over the island. And now that I can't really quite get him, oh, actually I did get him. Kill secured. There's no such thing as kill steal in this game. It's always better to have one less enemy ship shooting at you. Anyhow, I was doing our team a favor. And also, we've also reached the 1,000 point mark. So there you go. I earned a whopping 402,000 credits in that game at 4,500 XP. Almost hit the 2,000 XP base mark. Quite a good ship when you're not the focus of the enemy's firing. So look at the amount of HE I managed to do. 27,000 plus 15,000 and fire damage. So you can imagine what that is like for battleship players. Just aggravated them. And profit wise, I made quite a good amount of profit. So for a premium ship, it's a bit hard to recommend it because of the short range, but if you can make that work, then it's definitely worth it. Anyhow, that's me for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.